Wow, did you play that a little longer? Hey,
Hey, everybody, welcome.
I could have used like a few more seconds of that, but
You
hey,
want some more? I'll give you some more.
yes,
Here we go.
thank you.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another stirring night of Dating God's Way.
Yes,
Elder Nichelle, hey, you. Brother Dre, hey, man. Good to see you guys this evening. Hey, man, again on the streamies,
go
the
ahead. The
streamies,
streams.
on the streams. Yeah. Hey, Pastor, you gonna do your banner thing tonight? You gonna hook us
Oh, I am. That I sure am.
up?
Yes, I am.
We
Hey,
kind of
y'all,
we were kind
welcome.
of playing here a little bit.
I know
Mhm.
because yeah, somebody just ran on there.
We just done ran on there.
You just ran on there. You sure did. You ran on there.
Welcome, everybody. Thank
Look
you
like
for
that.
joining us online, live, YouTube, Facebook, on my page, Dating God's Way pages, wherever you are. Good to see all of you, and
Yeah,
it's good to be seen. It's good to be seen. Thank you, Lord. Amen. So, yeah,
yeah,
hey,
yeah. Will.
daughter vet, hey, you. We
Hey,
have, as you all can see, the what the topic of tonight is: contentious relations.
oh, okay.
Contentious
Okay. Let's see
relations.
what I like tonight. Okay, that's good. Hey,
Hey,
Matt. Hey, y'all. Contentious relations. Wow.
well,
Yeah.
I watch wrestling, and when somebody from this group comes up, they always say it's fight time. Tada, daughter Tada, hey you, Deacon T,
It's fight
it's
time.
fight time. And so tonight, you know, we want to get into ooh, you playing. We want to get into argue
Contentious relations.
relationship um conflicts within relationships and
Mm,
resolutions within
yeah.
relationships, or what we call it, fighting.
Fighting
Fighting,
fair.
fighting fear, fighting within relationship. Okay, haircut. Yeah, I did get a haircut.
Hallelujah.
For good reason. For good reason. Hey man, it's too hot outside to have a lot of hair on your head.
Ooh.
Um, Even though I stay in quite often, I do have to go outside a little bit. So shout
Oh,
out to my barber Call
go ahead, Carl.
down on
Get the shout
450.
out.
You know what I'm saying? Down on my man Call on 450 barber call.
Go ahead.
No, that's my barber, man. He get me in the chair and he get me out.
We also should shout out our producer that just showed up of our new music tonight on DGW.
Hey, did y'all hear the music? Did y'all like it?
Yes, from our producer's son,
Yeah,
David Spate.
yeah.
Yeah,
Our music mogul, our in-house music mogul, David Spade. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So so contentious
Ah,
relationship,
contentious
man.
relationship. You know what though, for real, um, black people definitely don't be fighting fair. I'm sure the white ones don't either, but I just know black people. Okay, they definitely don't be fighting fair. It'd be a lot of low blows. A lot of low blows. So let's set the stage for this tonight. Oh, yeah, let's shout out to David. So really get into this. First, we have to start with where most people's communication styles come from parental relationships. Let's start there.
Okay.
Okay. That in relationships, you generally bring over communication styles from your parents, what you saw, what you didn't see, what you got, what you didn't get. So a lot of people, um, so a lot of people base then their new relationship, their marriage, dating, then on styles of communication that were flawed.
Yeah, I read from the time you're born,
Yeah,
you kind of learn effective ways from your environment. You've learned effective ways to get your point across.
yeah.
And sometimes those effective ways come through. I got to clap my hands for you to get my point, right? And come with the hand clap.
Ah,
Some of it comes with different types of expression. So
yeah,
to feel like you're getting your point over, and that's what an argument is, right? Is a um an argument is a method that you use
mm-hmm.
to get over your point of view.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That
For
hand clap is something else though, ain't it?
the hand clap, da.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I Somebody really Pastor Will he has a very mostly calm temperament. Unless it comes to me though. I mean he can get me and the boys, he can get a little rah-rah. But most of the time he is, oh yeah, Tara, that's correct. For most part, for the most part, he has a very calm demeanor for the most part. But I'm gonna tell y'all, one day I was listening to him at work. I could not believe it. When I tell you, when I tell you he started clapping, and I was just like, go ahead. It's interesting that, when we get to, I think, with people we love and with things we're passionate about, those are places where you see sometimes different communication styles. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. Because sometimes people you love don't listen to you. They don't hear
Ooh,
you. They
ooh,
don't they don't hear you because they're
ooh,
so common to you.
ooh, ooh.
So yeah, so sometimes the people we love and we most
We'll be
care about,
listening.
huh?
We'll be listening.
Yeah, well, we all don't be listening. We all don't be listening at times, sometimes because we kind of knock them off of you just being you, they just being them, and we kind of hey, Sister Nina, hey you,
Hey,
hey, yeah. So I mean, and so we in spaces we stop listening,
yeah,
or and it's evident, and so trying to get our point across,
yeah,
we da.
yeah. That dot dot. Okay. So let's then talk about, when we talk about then where these different things come from, right? I think it is important to maybe just start with attachment is a term that talks about how we handle ourselves in relationships.
Yeah.
Attachments. Okay, attachment. So attachment, right, can come from different roots, right? Maybe
Okay.
you had, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Okay, maybe you had a secure attachment as a child, and like, you were in a situation where you felt really emotionally close to your parents, or one of your parents or parents, where you felt comfortable depending on them, having even them depend on you for certain things like chores and such, and or like you didn't worry about being alone or not being accepted. Like you came from a secure, attached environment. Okay. But then some people came from like a unsecure attachment situation where maybe they did not feel safe, or they didn't feel emotionally close to their parents, or they didn't feel comfortable. It was always if you do this for me, I do this for you type of situation. And so some of those attachment roots, right, come into your relationships that you can see preoccupied, right? This attachment style need a lot of closeness to feel like secure, like it's the nagging person because they had that unsecure space. Dismissive attachment, they afraid to get too close to people, they always like pushing people away. Or a negative cycle, and that is like when you trigger by any issue, big or small, just all these triggers come up, and that negative cycle cause a negative reaction. So you
Mm-hmm.
have three types of attachment that you can find in a relationship that come over to this space that can get you in the arguing space. And I think that's important, Pastor, to understand that it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Many people think that you having a disagreement with somebody is coming from what they did, but actually it's coming from your approach, your response. That your response to that person, your response in the disagreement often is what keeps the disagreement going. And
That's
it
true.
can be these three modes of attachment that could be fueling your inability to fight fair, or your inability to show up properly within a disagreement.
Yeah. I mean, just talking about the attachment piece, and here got my camera doing it again.
Yeah,
Just
don't worry
going
about it
crazy.
because we already knew it was gonna be doing it.
But here we go. With the attachment piece, we are unaware.
Yeah.
We are unaware of how we are still attached to our childhood sometimes,
Woo.
and to our teenage years and our development.
Yeah.
And because we are unaware, as we grow and walk out our adulthood,
Hmm.
those childish things come with us, because of, like I said, because of that attachment. Somehow, some way, we found that to be effective for us
Yeah.
somehow. So um so when we start to just breathe out of that immature place,
Yeah. Unhealed place.
unhealed place, thank you, that unhealed place, it
Both are,
show it shows up. it
yeah,
it, it, it
childish
it
and
shows up.
unhealed.
Yeah, it shows up big.
Yeah. It
Hmm.
shows up big. And getting to kind of the root of, first of all, like asking yourself the question, did I grow up in a secure or insecure environment as a child? Right? Like, did I have safety? Was my need supplied, or was it unsecure? Did I have a space or place where I didn't feel secure because of environment, because of different environmental things? And so, like, answering that question, I think, is a key. And once you identify, well, I had unsecure attachment because of childhood, which of these three then show up?
Or this the unsecure or the attachment is, um maybe you didn't have a voice in your household growing up,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And all of a sudden you in a situation and you feel like somebody else is trying to take your voice, or a situation is trying to take your voice, and it causes your argument because you're not going to feel like, you don't want to feel like your attachment.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
The thing you've been attached to. And
Yeah.
so the three things about that, one is that may have been your experience and not reality because you were a child.
Yeah. So
Or
true.
that could have been your experience and it's reality. It actually happened.
Hmm.
Or number three, it could be that the way that you process what happened is still in your childish state.
Mm. Wow.
Bible says it this way: when I was a child, I thought as a child.
Yeah.
So when you stop thinking as a child, when I look back and things that happened when I was a child. As an adult now, I'm like, oh, actually, I understand now. Like literally, this was happening back then because I can see it now from an adult lens.
Yeah.
But many people don't ever grow from the childhood lens. They're still processing things that happen. Wow. They're still processing things that happen as though they are still children.
Yeah.
I had a big old thing that happened right there. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
Oh, it was a
Yeah,
big
I had a big
delay.
glitch. Yeah, I was glitching. Okay. So we're gonna stop that glitching. So then I guess if this is where a lot of arguments come from, unhealthy disagreements and arguments, ones that are not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
then I think, one thing we talk about is getting some amount of healing from childhood, and or we always talk about go see the people, but therapy or counseling or something to resolve the childhood issues. What you doing? Resolving,
I'm talking to the boys.
resolving. I don't know why the boy right here. Resolving childhood issues. I think that's a one space. Before we even get into resolving a disagreement you're having with someone else, you need to resolve some of those attachment issues. What you think about that?
That's you gotta get to the root before you can get to the branches. You gotta get to the root, or
Yeah,
you just be cutting off branches and the branches be growing again.
for sure. Get to the root.
Yeah.
Secondarily, though, I think it is important. One thing you said today that is so important is how you treat your other relationships is also how you're going to treat your marital and or dating relationship.
Yeah.
So you disrespect your mother, guess what? You're going to disrespect your wife.
Yeah.
Same, and you disrespect your father, whatever the cases are, you're going to disrespect your spouse, right? And so I think that is also a key point is if you haven't learned to do relationships well with anybody, it don't just turn on for the person that you intimate with.
No, it don't.
It
You
don't
you can hide it,
for a
but
certain amount of time.
for a certain amount of time, whether it's months or days or years or whatever it may be, but it's going to rear its head.
Yeah,
Definitely will rear its head, and
yeah.
it's going to rear its head sooner than later. Um, and that's when your family member or your significant other may say, you maybe you need to go sit on the couch and talk to somebody. There's nothing wrong with talking to
It's
nobody.
nothing wrong,
There's nothing
y'all.
wrong with talking. There's nothing
Talk
wrong with
to
the
the
couch.
people.
Go see the people.
Go to the
It's
people.
okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Get healthy so you can show up healthy in another
Yeah,
relationship.
absolutely.
So then, what are after getting healed from all the childhood stuff? We got that. And y'all don't forget, because y'all haven't done this with us in like a year or so. You can post questions anytime. Don't wait for us to say if you got questions. Just go and pop them in. But how do we get out of the triggers?
Hmm.
Because I find that a lot of times people going off by triggers and it has nothing to do with the person you're arguing with.
Yeah.
So how do you start dealing with those triggers?
Well, how do you start dealing with the triggers, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, do we have any Back to the Future fans?
Oh boy. I don't think we got any tonight.
Yeah, Nichelle is on. We got at least one, and
Oh
Kanisha is
my
on.
gosh.
I got at
Oh,
least two,
and David.
and David, right?
Yeah.
And so one of Marty McFly's trigger was calling him a chicken.
Right.
But Marty McFly knew about this about himself. He was like, and so if you called him a chicken, it's a trigger to kind of, yeah, I'm ready. I got you, Kanish. So you call him a chicken, then he gets really upset and offended at that. He knew that trigger. And I think it's important to know your triggers. Know what sets you off.
Yeah.
Know what brings you to anger. Know what brings you to offense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. When you talk about then what's your triggers, I think then what brings you to a place of anger or offense, I think then that means you have to know yourself.
But yes, you have to know yourself.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it really is about. Do you know yourself well enough to know what sets you off?
And you have to be real about your back. You have to be real about where you came from. I mean, like you have to do some self analysis as you mature, and then you have to be really mature to do this, or go sit on the couch, go see the people, right? So to help you identify the triggers,
Yeah.
what caused you to shut down,
Yes.
what caused you to rise up,
Yes.
right? Know your triggers. I mean, not saying you should not defend your family, but what rises you to the point to make you say, if I got to defend my family, then I'm got to do bop 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 bop,
Yeah.
right? What's that trick? What
What was
happened?
triggering for you? Yeah.
What happened in your life that makes you so? And not saying that you shouldn't, but what happened in your life to make you to bring that kind of you already got it in your mind.
Yeah. Where did someone not fight for you at? That's what it
Yeah,
comes down to. Where did someone not show up for you at? Because that's what you are most likely triggered and responding to. How were you minimized? Right. One of the things relationally that I had to get over for myself personally, one thing that really irritates me is people not carrying their own weight.
mm,
At work, anything. I just don't like that. I'm like, we out here working hard and you playing. Like for me, that's like a irritation. I'm like, why are we working hard and you playing? And the place I had to resolve in myself is, Ebony, you deciding to work that hard. That's your thing. Why you making other people responsible for how you showing up? That's your choice to show up that way. That has nothing to do with the other people. And so some of those things that you call triggers are really your own expectations, your own unrealistic expectations, maybe of yourself, that now you want to deflect onto others. And you have to know what those things are. What are those things for me? What are some things that I think we talked, you and I talked many times about just how we resolve conflict.
yeah.
Little story, y'all. A little story. We're gonna do a long story tonight. Little story. But in our first 3 years of marriage, y'all, it was crazy around this. I mean, it was crazy. Will, was it crazy? It was crazy.
That was,
It was crazy. I mean, I was so elevated in all the things, and he was so nothing. It was crazy. He could go days shut down and not say nothing.
you know, if we would have received some worldly counsel,
Go ahead.
we probably wouldn't have got married. But thank God we had godly counsel. Because
Because for real, in reality, we were very different, weren't we?
our marriage was 100% spiritual. Uh, because if we received worldly
Really?
counsel, worldly wise counsel, we wouldn't have crossed this bridge.
Not this fast.
No,
No, it was crazy. Y'all,
no.
them first 3 years, I'm trying to tell y'all, it was crazy in our house.
But and that's one of my theories is that the first 5 years of any marriage is the founding years, it's
Yeah,
the
the
foundational
learning. It's the
years.
learning to live
Yeah,
together, learning to be together, learning to become one, the oneness, all of those
yeah.
things. But it was
Because
crazy.
because like the first 3 years, you going to everybody's house for all the holidays. The
Yeah,
first 3 years,
yeah, we
and
did.
And if you have a child in within those years,
Ooh, holla.
that
You got to go everywhere.
you gotta go everywhere.
Stop this place, stop that place, stop that place. Y'all was
Yeah,
so tired. But what happened in the story though was we both had very different communication styles,
yeah.
and so arguments turned into World War III, IV, 20.
Everything was a blow up.
Everything was a blow up, right? Everything was huge because neither one of us had the step back and let the other person have it. We were just like, I mean, that when I tell you that brother over there, his ice out was cool. He had that ice out on lock. Okay. And
Cause you ain't see.
what happened? Tell
You
us what
know,
happened.
you never wanted. It didn't seem like you ever wanted to listen to me. You ain't want to listen to whatever I had to say. You wanted to get your point across. So okay, so I since you don't want to listen, so I'll just be quiet and
That's not what happened. That's not what
you
happened.
can't say that's not what's gonna. It's what happened in my mind. And we're going to get into this about the 5 different argument styles, right?
We are gonna get into it. We're
We'll
gonna
get
get
into
into
the
it.
5 different argument styles that we see, and we probably cycle through probably all
All
5 of
of
them
them.
at some
We did.
point.
We done been through all five of these. We done been through all five. Go ahead. I'm ready to get into it. Let's get into it.
Okay,
Right about
so,
it. Let's get into it.
so it's this the Savannah Post reshared this article on Medium,
Yeah.
and it talks about the 5. They break out the 5 different styles of argument, and this is what something that Pastor E and I talking about, right?
Yeah.
So the first one, I'll go through them real quick, and then we can then we can dive deep into them if you like, right?
Okay, I'm ready.
The first one is the pleaser, and then the second one is the sulker, and then the third one is the big banger.
Mm.
The fourth one is the negotiator,
Yeah.
and then the fifth one is the synergizer.
Mm.
All right. So
Mm.
y'all type in what you want to hear first. We'll take a pause. What you want to go into first? What you wanted the first post. I'll
I'm
you
putting
you
them in.
can
I'm
jump
putting them in
into
the
it.
chat now, Pastor.
Okay. So y'all tell me which one y'all want to go into first.
Oh
This
my
is going to
goodness.
be this is going to be funny and fun and serious at the same time because um I think we should all identify, and this is our communication style.
Yeah.
This is our communication style, how we communicate when we approach an argument,
Yeah.
or and how we get into conflict. So yeah, so thank you, Pastor E. The pleaser, the sulker, the big banger, the negotiator, and the synergizer.
Yes. Which one we want to start with?
Yeah, which one? I want somebody to type in and let me know
Yeah.
which one they
Quick
want.
poll. Which one we want to start with?
All right, the
The
sulker.
stalker.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, all right.
You're
So,
so. I'm ready. I
no,
was like,
go ahead, E, go
okay,
ahead.
the stalker. You're so afraid of conflict that you avoid it at all costs. You avoid arguing because you're not properly engaged in the relationship.
Hmm.
Stalkers are punishing their partner. They have frosty silence, withholding intimacy, rather than directly saying what they are angry about or upset about.
Hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
The sulker.
Stalker means you're just existing in a relationship. By avoiding conflict, you're not engaging properly because you are afraid of intimacy and vulnerability. Woo!
That's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough. So you're arguing. So this is this is the ice
This is the ice out, y'all.
the ice out.
The ice out is rough, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all from experience. The ice out is rough. Okay, go ahead.
So no, and so how did you stay in when iced out?
I'm gonna be honest, y'all. It was hard. It was very hard to stay in when iced out. I think the thing that helped us was it was the beginning of the relationship. So I think that is the thing that helped us, is because it happened so early in our marriage that it was still like honeymoon time. So, other like intimacy was there, other like hanging out together, friending it. We had other elements that did not, so the ice out did not overwhelm the relationship until we got past that stage. So for
Yeah,
me, like I had, other things at least we could go to, which was dinner, which was dating, which was, we had those things working for us, our time away. All of those things helped when the ice out came or the sulking came.
yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay, so let's go to the synergizer. I like the synergizer.
Okay, let's go to synergizer. Okay, so the synergizer, you can have a difference of opinion and fight for you want with what you want. You work as a team to come up with creative solutions rather than one person winning and the other person cultivating. Synergizers fight for their side of an argument, but not at the cost of the relationship.
Yeah. So I can see we have transition to synergy.
Phew.
um, but arguments aren't our arguments these years aren't what they were in those
Oh,
years.
oh no. No, 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 no. That's true.
Our kids are adults now.
It's true.
Um, so I mean, we still have some back and forth about uh,
That's right.
uh, uh, parenting adults. We have our
Okay.
opinions, but we don't have our arguments.
That's
Not
right.
at
We
all.
have disagreements for
We have
sure.
our yeah.
Yeah,
We don't. It's only human to disagree.
that's right.
We are human.
But we have learned to argue better.
Yeah,
And synergy is one way to argue better.
yeah. We
Yeah.
not we not slamming doors behind each other anymore.
Woo. Thank God. I remember, I wonder if the
Mm,
boys remember door slamming. Because
Probably so.
when they were
Probably
small,
they were small,
man,
but they
we
probably
had two kids back to back, y'all. It was a little rough.
yeah. That was rough.
Diapers and bottles.
It
Yeah,
was rough. And kids, kids don't know no better.
they don't know about it.
And I think what happens with kids and parents is that parents become impatient, expecting their kids to act
Like
mature
adults, right?
like
It's
adults.
crazy. It don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense,
It
and
doesn't make
so
sense.
and half the time it's really not the child problem. It's just our the parents' impatience
Yeah,
that can't that's just not getting. Why are you still acting like this at 3 years old?
right. Because you 3 years old.
Because you're
Yeah,
3 years old.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
those are the conversations I used to have with my boys. Like, why you 3 years old? You should be acting older than that. Um,
Oh my
I
God.
was I was a wild parent. Yeah, I
You
was a
were a
wild.
wild parent. Yes.
Um,
Oh, Father. Okay.
okay, the
The
pleaser.
pleaser. Look at David.
Yeah,
The
David, I'm sorry.
pleaser.
I messed you up, son. I'm
You
sorry.
did. You did not mess up my
I
son.
messed you up,
You
son.
did not.
I apologize.
You didn't mess up my son.
You can
The
mess up. You
pleaser.
can mess up your kids now. Go ahead. You ain't
No.
married and have kids. You can
Don't you
mess
tell
yours
my
up.
son that.
And
No.
I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna laugh at you.
The
Okay.
pleaser. You give in a lot to your partner's point of view. Pleasers tend to think that anger is wrong or bad because when they were a child and they was crossed, it meant something very scary. The pleaser has very little experience of anger leading to a positive outcome. Pleasers are often attracted to people who are very assertive. But giving into your partner's desires and views ultimately build up resentment in the pleaser. Never arguing, which means you periodically explode.
Yeah.
The pleaser.
Yeah. You never face the conflict. You always bringing flowers. You always buying stuff for that person.
Yeah.
to avoid to avoid the confrontation.
Yeah, I think this one is a hard one, because when a pleaser sometimes starts out asking like what the person likes and wants, but never communicates properly what they like or want. So then they always are in the position of pleasing because they've never like addressed their own wants or needs. So the pleaser has to learn how to be present and often like compete. Get in there.
Yeah,
What do you desire? Get up in there.
yeah. You know, I can see this one kind of leading into infidelity a little bit
Yeah,
because their wants and needs are not being fulfilled by the one that they're in the relationship with,
it's true.
right?
Yeah,
And so when they're out and about, somebody may feel that want or need, whatever it is, and I can see where this can lead this kind of person. Um, it can lead them down this path.
yeah. The pleaser. Yeah,
The
gotta be
pleaser.
very careful with being a pleaser.
Yeah,
That's true. I want to do next the big banger.
the big.
Because this was in the beginning, you were
This
the
is
stalker and I was the big banger in the
the big.
beginning.
Yes, you were the big banger.
The big banger, you just can't bear to lose, even if it comes at a cost. Big bangers are almost always created by their birth order. That maybe they were the oldest child or the only child. So they compete to maintain a top dog position. They have the golden child attitude. This is they often think like, I told you so. Even when you are right, if you're fighting your corner, if fighting your corner until you win, the argument pattern may lead you to losing intimacy because your partner does not get a look in. So yeah, when we started, I was the big banger. Pastor Will was the stalker, and I was the big banger. And I just couldn't. I wasn't letting go until he heard all the points.
And I heard them all.
It was yeah. Yeah. Sorry for that. That was
Yeah,
rough.
I forgive you.
There was some rough sulking and big banging years, wasn't it?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
made it
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
Listen.
And we didn't have this analysis.
No, we had none of this.
We
And we
had
had nobody that could tell us.
no.
It was interesting though. I would say this because me and you knew the problem coming in. That's true.
It's true.
Like, remember when we talked about like we're not gonna be like your parents, we're not gonna be like my people. Like we had all those conversations and still we could not navigate it. And I
We
think
sure
there is
did.
something to be said about that. That even if you come out of today with a knowledge of like, yes, I'm this person or that person, you still might need to work through it
Right. Yeah. I'm an introvert. You an extrovert.
for sure.
Okay.
Right. What that
Okay.
mean? What does
Yeah.
that
Right.
mean?
Okay.
What does that mean? Right. And so learning what that means, you kind of want to know what it means before you get with somebody for the future.
Yeah. For sure.
Because we understood it, but we didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
We didn't know that it meant that I was gonna be like blowing his house up every day and he was gonna be in the ice cold freezer. We didn't know that. So that's important to also know your own space. The last one is the negotiator. The
Hmm.
negotiator, you approach an argument with a view to keep the peace by meeting in the middle. Okay. This often applies to people from large families. Okay. The negotiation skills are great to have, but not if neither party is ever happy. So this is like, let's do yours tonight, let's do mine tomorrow. That's a negotiating style, right? And sooner or later, you become very happy because meeting in the middle every time is frustrating.
Yeah,
You never get your way, that person never get their way.
negotiation style really destroys families, because one side, even though they both share forgiveness, both sides share forgiveness, um, but then it's like, well, why come in the middle again if we if we feel in this kind of um, thing
Yeah.
between each other. So
Why not work through it?
it's this kind of we agree to disagree type negotiation, right?
Yeah. Or we
Yeah,
make a compromise and neither one of us really like all the time.
yeah. Hey,
That
Craig,
sucks.
what's up, son?
That sucks. Who like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah. So this is good. I think one of the big things that I liked about this article too is like arguing in and of itself is not bad. Having a disagreement is inevitable, right? Like one of the things that I've learned in having disagreements, I've had disagreements with Pastor Will. I had disagreement with the boys. Okay, everybody had disagreements, right? The more you mature in a disagreement, the more you're able to utilize those skills somewhere else. When I'm having a disagreement with my boss, right? We get along great, but we do disagree. Now I can bring better communication style to work because I was able to grow through it at home.
and an effective argument is supposed is not supposed to make you agree, but to help you see from the other person's point of view.
Absolutely.
Not that you don't have to agree with it.
No.
You don't have to agree with it, even if their point of view is garbage. But an effective argument is okay. I see from your point of view.
I hear you.
I hear you.
I hear you. And maybe I even know why you think that way. It's having the ability to hear the person and I have some understanding. So, contentious arguments. So let's go through what fighting fair looks like. We haven't done fighting fair in a long time on DGW.
Well,
Um,
should we go to fighting fair or should we
we
get to
want to
some?
go to
It's 8:44. Should we get to some resolution?
that's fighting fair. That is resolution.
Okay, come on, let's go to it. Let's go.
Yeah, that's resolution. Fighting
All
fair
right.
is because you're going to fight. So that's number one. Is just like you're going to have disagreements with people.
Yeah,
So you need to learn how to fight fair.
yeah.
Okay, y'all ready for fighting fair?
That's fighting fair.
All right. I think the first thing you do in fighting fair is ask yourself questions. Why am I so ticked off? That's a good place to start. Because
Yeah,
sometimes your ticked off has nothing to do with the other person. For example, work sucked today. So are you really irritated about work and now you're taking out your work irritations on your spouse, on your dating person? Probably so. So why am I so upset? Why am I really mad that you didn't take out the trash when I thought you should have took it out? Like, am I really mad about the trash? Is that easier a conversation or does it have to be an argument? Number two, can this be a conversation or does it have to be an argument? Number three, keep your cool. This is my favorite one about fighting fair. Keep your cool. Cause I like to get all, I ain't gonna lie about it, y'all. I like to get into it, okay? I'm a very passionate disagreeer. Keep your cool. Keep your cool. Keep your cool. Okay. Keep your cool is having the ability not to get aggressive. And that's not necessarily about your style. It's more so about the type of words you use and how you use them. Don't get hot with words. Don't get hot with words. Which leads to don't lash out. Then that's fighting dirty. When you start calling each other names, name calling, that is a rule that we did have. To never call each other names. Because you can't go back from that. So we made an actual rule about you. I don't care how mad you get, we will never call each other a name outside of our name. And I'm glad we made that agreement. Aren't you, Will?
Best
That's
rule
hard
ever.
to get back from. If you start calling each other names, it's really
Mhm.
you can't come back from that because that's always going to come back to mind. And the last one is say sorry, y'all. Apologize and mean it. Those are the rules of fighting fair. Let's get into some questions. You got more?
So I saw this. I saw this video. Let's get. I see Kanisha's question, and I saw this video of the auntie fussing with this baby,
Yes, I love
and
that one.
you love it, and the baby,
Yes, I like it.
and she going back and forth,
Yeah,
and
that baby can't say no words, and
this
she
baby
like,
can't say no word, but the baby is responding to the aunt's tone of voice
yes, she is.
and her looking at him, in a certain. So he's responding, and he's intelligent enough that he waits for her to finish her sentence or her
That's
word
correct.
before he responds.
Yeah,
A lot of times our arguments are really needy
yeah,
in the sense of we argue because we need a response from it.
yes. We're looking for a response.
We're
That's
looking
true.
for a response.
Yeah,
So how do you have resolution conversations with those who are hot with words?
when that's not how you communicate. I think it's two pieces to this. It's one, being hot with words is literally the person being saying things out of character. That part is not about tone. So for example, if you talk very direct and to the point, that's not hot with words. That's just how I talk. So I think it's also being very clear with what hot with words mean. Because, for example, Pastor Willie may talk in a more calm tone and I may talk in a more direct one. Sometimes that's read wrong. Somebody reads that as maybe I'm angry or I'm this or that. And that's just how I talk. So I think, tone is one thing, is being understanding of, does that, like, for another example I will use is this. I've heard people talk very in calm tones and be manipulative. So you have to also be able to discern the difference. Tone is not what's giving you the inflection or the hot with words. Hot with words meaning using the wrong words. So if somebody comes at me, ba ba ba, okay, when you boom boom, like Pastor Will was like that that, and when you, if they're using the words that go along with those actions, if that's not how you communicate, then you won't communicate that way. There is no communicating really when somebody is being outlandish. When somebody's lashing out, calling you names, there's nothing to say. And generally, how I respond to that, I had a coworker. I was telling y'all this. I had a coworker that, cuss me, did this, did that, and the other. My response was, I'm not going to say anything until you're ready to communicate. Because right now you're not ready to communicate because you're lashing out. So I'm going to end this discussion now, and we can come back when you can be reasonable.
I want to go back because I know who asked this question, and I want to go back to your attachment. Is that somewhere as a child, your voice was taken from you, and that shows a lot often than you know.
Hmm.
And it's not that they are hot with words. It's because at a young age, something was instilled in you to not respond.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah. You don't have to respond.
yeah,
There is no response needed.
yeah.
And you have to be secure enough. Talking about secure attachment. You have to be secure enough not to respond. It's
Yeah.
okay.
You're not the little
You
girl
got it.
no. You're not the little girl no more. You're a full-fledged adult.
Let's talk
You,
about that right
you
quick.
you owe nobody a response.
Let's talk
The
about
only,
that right quick.
the only response you owe is to God.
That's correct. Let's get to that right quick.
Okay.
Because as a child, a lot of people were told, like, stay in a child's place, don't say nothing, this, that, and
Yeah.
the other. Like, that negatively affects I was saying like when my kids were younger, they had a lot more opinions, and it still shows. They had a lot more opinions than a lot of kids did because I did not want their voice diminished. Where when I was a child, my grandmother, she talked to me like I was a person. She was very much so like she wanted to hear my opinion, and sometimes she was like, "Okay, but that ain't your business. You gotta stay out of that." But she didn't like knock me straight down of like, "You a child, stay in a child place." And that's a lot of that, Pastor Will, has affected adults, and they don't know how to communicate. They do not know how to communicate because as a child, it was just a beat down.
Yeah. See, I never seen my mom argue. I don't ever recall really seeing my mom have an argument.
Ooh,
But
yeah,
uh, my dad could curse you out
for
in
sure.
the worst way, but it
Mm,
wasn't often. I mean, you would have to push him to that point, and I was that person. I was that
push
person
that
that
button.
you push the right button. Before I got saved for real. Um, I could really let you have it. Thank God for Jesus.
Daddy will, child.
Thank God for Jesus. And so, why did I say that?
Because you learn different.
Because thank you, because
Uh-huh.
I learned different.
Yeah,
I learned different. I learned how to, especially in different environments where, especially being let's be frank, being a black man in America,
for sure.
you can't have the same um rage, or be the same have the same amount of you can't display the same amount of anger um in certain communities that you can display in others,
Very
right?
true. Definitely on the marketplace for sure.
Right. If I'm, when if I was up on Rhode Island Avenue, we all like bop, 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 bop.
Right.
But the minute I go to Wisconsin Avenue, it was like, you don't do bop, 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 right? You
It's a
chill
different
out.
environment.
Yeah, different
It's a different
environment.
environment.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I thank God for having that balance of my mom and my dad. 'Cause, you know, um, and I
Yeah.
think
And I
that's
think that is an important point of what communication did you learn? What communication did you learn as a child? Or
yeah,
did you not learn anything? Did
yeah,
you work did you learn to have conversations with, that allowed you to talk, that push you to talk, that ask you to talk, right? Because those are going to affect like how you communicate now with your spouse and with your children,
yeah,
right? Like certain conversations, you never had with your, if you have a parents that may be of a different generation, they didn't talk about sex with their children. Some of them barely talked about sex with their husbands. So I mean, it's just a different it's a different generation.
you can't say that three-letter word on Facebook. I see, like, they be censoring stuff.
All the trash they show on here, please.
Yeah, I know.
Facebook better go. Meta, all of them have seats. So I do think that's important too. What you just said about what took your voice away, and
Yeah,
somehow the lens you see communication from might be because of your own not dealt with yet that you need to
yeah.
go and deal with.
Okay.
Fighting fair.
Fighting fair.
I did see too, Yvette. Let me see. Yvette also made a comment that I wanted to go back to. Where you go, child? Y'all how was it tonight? Child, Yvette. Mm-mm-mm. Oh yes. I like this comment here from Yvette tonight. For sure. Because really in reality, and as you are growing through some of these maybe childhood attachments, negative attachments, you need to learn how to fight fair. It's the Lord can help you, but you need to be learning. You gotta be learning with the Lord. It's not a matter of prayer only. You need prayer and good the good process. The good working through. And that's important. Yeah, Pastor?
It's so true. You have to learn how to fight. To have an effective relationship with anybody, you have to learn how to fight fair.
Yeah.
And at least you, even if the other person don't fight fair, you need to learn how to fight fair so you can get the assignment accomplished.
I mean, eventually that's what happened with us, right? It's like one of us had to stop. And like over time, your partner is gonna adapt. It's like, okay, so you're not acting crazy no more. Maybe I should also stop acting crazy.
Yeah.
You're not acting crazy no more. So now I see it's just me acting crazy. So I'm gonna stop acting.
Yeah, I think that was our last argument. I was like, look, I'm 40 something years old. I'm not doing this no more. It is what it
You were
is.
not 40 something. Stop playing around. You were not 40
Yes, it was.
something.
I was like, we're
You
not.
were not no 40 something. You need to stop.
It's so,
Y'all stop playing with Pastor Will. You
I'm
act like
40,
he old man. You were
I'm
not
40
40
something. I
something
said
years
I
old.
was 40 something years
You
old.
need to
And
stop playing.
hey, look, I've been 40 next week in 2 weeks. I've been 40 something for the past 9 years.
You need to stop.
Hey, that's something.
That is something, but that ain't got nothing to do. We talk about tonight.
That's
You
something.
definitely went on 40 some years old, acting
I'm
wild.
celebrating 9 years of 40.
You celebrate 9 years of 40, but you wouldn't acting a wild at 40 years old. Because Pastor E was not even dealing with that. I'm just telling y'all the truth. not 40, Pastor. I pray it don't take the whole at 40, we was married 15 years. It should not take 15 years to get your communication style together. Come on, Pastor. That's crazy. Hello?
No comment.
It is a comment.
I plead the fifth.
It should not take anybody 10 years to get themselves together.
No comment.
What?
I plead the fifth.
It's a comment to this question.
There's no comment to this question.
It is a comment to this question.
Okay.
You can spend the first 3 years, the first 5 years getting it together, but after that, you got to have it together. Here we go. What's your scholar response? Here we go. Come on, Sarah. Come on with it. What's your scholar response? You cannot take over 5 years. You at that point, you need to go to counseling for yourself. You can't spend over no 5 years talking about when you was a baby or your mother treated you this way or that way. You got to grow up from that now. Ooh.
Mastery. My scholarly response. Here we go. You ready, Sarah? Mastery is the art of practice.
Ooh.
How you like that one? You like that
I like it. And that mastery better start 3 to 5 years into the relationship. You better start mastering. Year 5, you better get into mastery. Get into master class for keep that marriage together.
Amen.
Amen. And that's the answer. Contentious relations. Yeah, I hope tonight y'all got something from contentious relationship. Deal with that childhood stuff. Okay, I feel like this tonight about that. Deal with the childhood stuff. That's the 1. 2, what's your attachment style? Did you learn tonight? Secure attachment or unsecure attachment? 3, do you have any of these negative cycle attachments going on? Like pull that. 4, learn how to fight fair. Go back, write the list down if you did not. Learn to fight fair. That's all I got, Pastor.
Thank you, E. Well, that's all I got. Is that all y'all got? And if that's all we have, we are signing out.
We're signing out.
To the tunes of David. Hey, look. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. It's been real very conversation. As myself, relationship.
You're welcome.
What are you contending for? If you're in a relationship, marriage especially, contend for your relationship.
Next week gonna be wild, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all, next week.
Dollar bill.
Yeah, dollar bill.
Uh-oh. feel like buckwheat. Uh-oh. Hey, well, God bless you guys.
What's the next wheel?
Huh?
Lord, what is